celebrating its 49th National Day. The next 50 years starts here. Happy UAE National Day.
Happy 49th UAE National Day, ladies and gentlemen. Happy National Day to our beloved UAE. This is Future Talk right here on Pulse 95 with me, Hani Bilqais and Omnia Salah, celebrating the UAE National Day for the past 3 days. We've been having a lot of interesting guests on the show talking about the UAE and talking about how technology is shaping the UAE and how the UAE is kind of supporting, contributing to the advancement of this technology. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot in store for you guys. We got a lot of big names coming on the show, starting with...
Yes, indeed. We are going to be starting with Dr. Fadi Alloul, who is a professor and head of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at the American University of Sharjah. He's an expert in the field of smart cities, but he is mostly known for how much he encourages students to become a part of the field of AI. He's going to be speaking to us, telling us all about what makes the UAE the perfect hub for innovation.
Yes, indeed. And we also have an interview with Rami Zidan, who is the head of video and creative for TikTok, Middle East and North Africa. I'm very excited for this one. You know, ladies and gentlemen, if you tune into Future Talk all the time, you know me and Omni always talk about TikTok and the future of TikTok. But we're going to talk about the significance of rolling out the Arabic version of TikTok for the business platform right here in the Middle East and North Africa region. Very excited for that one.
Yes, indeed. He's going to be telling us all about how big is the TikTok audience in the UAE and also what are the special filters that they are launching to celebrate this occasion with us as well. But a very special conversation is lined up as well with Alia Al Mansoori, who is a young Emirati who aspires to become an astronaut by the age of 30. She has had endless experience in the field of science. The most known of them all has been the fact that she was able to send her experiment on the board of one of the rockets to the International Space Station.
One of my favorite from the Emirati youth. She's been doing a lot of things from a very young age, mashallah. We're going to have an interview with her in a bit. But also, ladies and gentlemen, we do have to talk about Apple, because if this wouldn't be Future Talk if we didn't talk about Apple. And now it was fined 10 million euros from Italy. Italy did find them over iPhone water resistance claims, which is very big because iPhone's kind of selling point is that it is water resistant, waterproof.
Is it really water resistant? This is definitely what we're going to be discussing on today's show. So make sure you keep Pulse 95 locked, and we'll be right back.
The United Arab Emirates, celebrating its 49th National Day. The next 50 years starts here. Happy UAE National Day.
Happy UAE National Day. It's the 49th UAE National Day for our beloved UAE. This is Pulse 95 Future Talk, and we have a very special guest today, don't we, Omnia?
Yes, indeed. A young Emirati who aspires to become an astronaut. She is currently studying biological sciences at the University of Edinburgh, and at 15 years old, she has actually beat 109 competitors to take home the winning prize at the Genes in Space UAE competition, where her project was actually aimed towards helping astronauts avoid cell damage on long flights. Her experiment was actually sent on off to space on the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, and she was also New York University Abu Dhabi's youngest researcher. She has many accomplishments under her belt, and whenever we're talking about a young Emirati woman with so many accomplishments under her belt, we're definitely talking about Alia Al Mansoori. Thank you so much for joining us today, Alia.
Hi, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, mashallah. That's a big portfolio at such a young age. Welcome to the show. Now, I want to ask you, at what age did your love for space and sciences begin?
I don't really remember because I think I was too young to even recall that. I would say around like 5 years old, I started getting really curious about the universe, and I think that's how every love for science starts. You just start asking questions and reading about it in books, and then like asking like the craziest questions. Like, I remember I used to ask my mom, why do we sleep at night and wake up in the morning? You know, stuff like that. Yeah.
So you were a curious mind at a very young age.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Alia, you're a very big advocate for science and STEM studies, and you believe that everyone at any age could become a part of this field. How did growing up in the UAE help you grow this passion for sciences during your high school years?
Yeah, I think in the UAE, it's a very nurturing environment for young people. And every time, especially now that I'm abroad and I tell people about my experience, they're like, you were so young, how were you able to do this? And then I start to recall to them all of the people who were like me, even younger, who had a lot of accomplishments at that age as well. And I think that it's the sort of environment that we are brought up in. We're taught that nothing is impossible. You can do anything. You're so nurtured to really go and explore the universe. And I think that is something that is very special to the UAE.
Yes, the sky is the limit. Now, you did mention that you are abroad, and we are celebrating the UAE's 49th National Day. And this is your first UAE National Day away from home. How are you celebrating it, and what do you miss the most?
So I didn't really do anything for celebrations per se, because I am going through a finals week right now, but I did have a little Zoom call with my family since they all have a break right now as well. And I did speak to them. So it's nice to reconnect with people from back home, friends as well, and see how everyone's doing.
Absolutely. And we definitely wish you the best of luck on your finals. Alia, you've had many achievements in the field of science, and we've actually heard that you are interested in visiting Mars and space by the age and by the time that you are 30 years old. What are your current projects that are helping you achieve this goal?
So I'm just trying to get through university, because that's, I feel like, is a milestone. And hopefully when I'm done with that, I'm looking to do a master's and PhD, and then work on some research that would be really impactful for my community, and then see where it takes me from there.
Inshallah, we do wish you the best of luck. Now, after all of that, what do you aspire to do upon your return back home to the UAE?
Yeah. Again, I hope to do a lot of research. That is honestly my life goal, is to do as much research as possible, as impactful as possible, and to just, work in science and to learn more about the universe.
Absolutely. Alia, a lot of young Emirati youth and citizens right here in the UAE may be tuning in, and they are wondering, what is one piece of advice that younger Alia Al Mansoori would have wished she had heard, or she would have wished she had known when she was starting out on this path?
Yeah. Take it slow. Things will come eventually. Don't be so hard on yourself, and believe in yourself. That's the most important thing. If you stop believing in yourself, you won't be able to do anything else that you've ever dreamed of, because if you want people to start believing in you, you need to start with yourself.
Wise words from Alia Al Mansoori, the Emirati youth, and a lot of actually older people do look up to you as a sort of motivational figure. Thank you so much, Alia, for joining us on the show.
We wish you the best of luck on your finals, and we hope that you achieve everything that you aspire for. And we're definitely looking forward to having you once again on the show in the near future. To everyone tuning in to us right now, we're going to be taking a short break. But when we come back, we have a very special conversation lined up all about TikTok. But also, we're going to be discussing Apple's latest dilemmas with water resistance. Keep Pulse 95 locked. We'll be right back.
United Arab Emirates, celebrating its 49th National Day. The next 50 years starts here. Happy UAE National Day.
What a special day to get to celebrate right here in the Pulse 95 studios. The UAE National Day brings up so many memories of being back in school, getting excited for this day, to eat all the yummy treats of the Gimat, the Arabic coffee that is widely spread, especially during this day, but also to get to sing the national anthem, feeling every single word that you are saying, because you actually get to witness the accomplishments that are happening in the UAE in every sector every single year.
Yes, a lot of expats do call the UAE home, and we do all call the UAE home. We were born here, raised here. Our life is the UAE, and we love the country so much. The culture is our culture. The experience it's widespread. Omni experienced the same thing I experienced, and I believe anyone listening has experienced the same thing when it came to school, standing in the assembly line, singing the national anthem. Just thinking about it, I'm getting kind of a nostalgia thoughts
When
about.
you were humming the national anthem as we were preparing to start the segment, all I could remember is just standing in line in school, singing it out loud, and how excited we were for the National Day, because it was the day where we all got to dress up in the traditional clothing of the UAE. We got to try out the different foods that this culture offers to all of us, but we also got to witness the values that Emiratis practice day in and day out. And as an expat living right here in the UAE, I think being in the UAE gives you an experience that is different from living in any other country, because you come into contact with so many cultures.
So many cultures, so many nationalities. It's literally a melting pot right here in the UAE. You can meet anyone from any nationality, and that is, again, it brings the tolerance, the coexistence, how we can all live under one roof peacefully. And that's what the UAE...
With no judgment.
With no judgment. I mean, I have friends from all types of nationalities and religions, and it's just amazing to see how we can all live safely right here in the UAE, and God protect the UAE and bless the UAE.
Absolutely. And just like we've always did with Future Talk, we're going to be bringing you the latest tech news happening right here in the UAE and around the world. And Apple is definitely a staple for many people living right here in the UAE, more specifically the iPhones.
Yes, indeed. Apple has had its checkbook out for the past couple of days now, because they're getting fines on top of fines on top of fines.
Yes.
And the most recent fine is a 10 million euro in Italy over iPhone water resistance claims. Now, Omni and I have talked about how the EU Commission is grabbing the throat of all smartphone makers and putting them in place. And you really can't make a mistake when it does come to the EU, because they will come for your neck. Now, Italy's competition authority has fined Apple 10 million euros over alleged messaging around how water resistant is iPhone are. Now, they do say that iPhones are very water resistant, but turns out they're not.
Exactly. And this is why Apple is actually accused of misleading and aggressive business practices over its promotional messages that, when they are put to the real test, they sadly fail. The regulator said that the company had advertised that several iPhone models were water resistant without clarifying what exceptional circumstances prove that the iPhone is not water resistant. Now, this message did not make it clear that this property can only be found under specific conditions. And we tend to hear this argument quite often. The difference between being water resistant
and waterproof.
Now, a lot of people, whenever we hear, oh, iPhones are water resistant, that means I can bring it to the pool. That means I can take it with me to the beach. And if you did the big mistake of taking the phone with you inside the water, then you're definitely going to be soaking it in rice the minute you come out.
A lot of people actually use their phone in the shower. They'll have songs playing. Even some people go to the extent of watching Netflix in the shower. Even like bath time, they'll have bath time, hot water running. I feel like it's a little bit crazy, but obviously because it is advertised as water resistance, people do that. But Apple has not responded to the request to kind of say your side of the story. A lot of news outlets are coming to Apple, say, tell us, Mr. Tim Cooks, what is going on and how come you guys are getting fined so much? And they chose not to make a statement. Now, Apple had promoted several iPhone devices as being water resistant for a maximum depth of up to 4 meters. And that was depending on the model, and you can go for as much as 30 minutes. Now, 30 minutes under the water, I can't even live a minute under the water. So having an iPhone go under the water for 30 minutes at a maximum depth of 4 meters, that is saying a lot, and that's a big stretch for Apple.
But it's the bigger catastrophe. It's that Apple actually sent out a disclaimer saying that its phones were not covered by warranty in case of damage from any liquids, which is, again, very misleading for consumers, since they are promoting that their phones are actually water resistant. If you're so confident in this property and in this feature, why wouldn't you fix any damages that result from this proposed feature not working out correctly? The company is also accused of failing to provide support to customers when their iPhones were damaged by water or liquids, which is very contrary to their warranty notice.
Yes, and Italy has described it as aggressive commercial practice, obviously saying that Apple is misleading their customers, misleading the consumers to thinking they're buying a product, and as advertised as to be maximum depth of 4 meters, 30 minutes, waterproof, water resistance. But the fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, that it is not, and thus we can see because they're getting fined left and right. And Apple is getting put in this place. I don't know if you've noticed this or you've seen the current rankings of smartphones. The number one currently at the moment is, I believe, Samsung. After that is Huawei.
And then Apple.
No, Xiaomi has come up and took the place.
way.
Third place is Xiaomi. Fourth is Apple.
Apple, you gotta step up your game.
A lot of people are getting fed up with the practices Apple has done. And a lot of people are saying, listen, I'd rather go to something that is more cost effective, because we do know Android devices are more cost effective.
With even more features than what Apple offers.
More features, and you do have a wide variety to choose from. Now, we do see Apple kind of copying that practice as well, giving us more varieties: iPhone 12 mini, iPhone 12, iPhone 12 Pro, etc. They want the consumers to have a different variety than that flagship Pro phone. But obviously, it's not working, and Android devices are kind of jumping the rankings.
Absolutely. While iPhones are fourth in place, one social media platform is currently one of the top.
Number one.
Yes, one of the top right here in the UAE, and it is TikTok, which is exactly why we're going to be speaking to Head of Video and Creative for TikTok, Mina Rami Zaidan. He's going to be joining us to tell us a little bit more about how TikTok is celebrating National Day on its platform and what filters and features you can make the most out of. Keep Pulse 95 locked. We'll be right back.
If you liked this episode of Future Talk, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.